Peace be upon you all and welcome to the channel. In this video we will cover what we alluded to in the previous lecture, and that would be the articles. Now we have in Arabic we have multiple articles depending on the context that they are used in within a sentence. I do not want the number to deter you. They are quite simple. Once you start practicing and memorizing, then they will become rather familiar to you and easily recognized. So we will start with the basic article. So let me write articles. And we will cover the one that is known as the in Arabic. So in English there is a the for the noun, and an a or an, depending on if the word starts or the noun starts with a vowel or not, for the unknown. For example, if I have a tree, and it will be rather a hideous tree, I know, but I do not have time to be, well, it's not that I do not have time, I do have time, but I do not wish to waste your time trying to be accurate. I'll just cover it like so, and there we go. So I can say a tree if I am speaking generally, or if I am pointing at or identifying a particular tree in mind, I would say that tree. In Arabic, we do not have the article a or an. If you say the noun without it, that is the unknown noun. But we do have the article the. However, it is not a word. It is a prefix. The article for the is alif lam. And since it is a prefix, I will add a hyphen like so to indicate that there is a word after it, which means that the alif lam is attached to the word. This is always pronounced as al. And you probably have seen this if you have Arabic colleagues whose last names have al in it. That is not an actual Arabic word, that is the article alif lam or al. It means the and then the last name, whatever it may be. That is what al is. Sometimes it will be pronounced il, but that depends on the word before it, and we will cover that shortly once we take why this is called a connecting Hamza, if you recall from the previous lecture. This is a connecting Hamza. We will talk about it in just a moment. So to present this in a simpler and understandable manner, we will take the noun tree. And we will also take moon as another noun. You will see why I chose those two in particular to show a difference in the article here. Let us first take the word moon, which is it is called qamar. I apologize for the handwriting. It is really difficult to write with a graphics tablet. Qamar. Qamar. So let us write it here. Qa. So that is qaf, fatha. Qa, ma. Mim, fatha. Mar. That is a ra with a sukoon. Remember, an innate trait for ra is that it is repetitive by nature. So when I say ra, when I say qa, mar, that means it is a ra with a sukoon. It simply is repetitive by nature. And it is a heavy ra because it has a sukoon, yes, but we look at the diacritic preceding it, and that affects if it is a heavy ra or a light ra. A light ra is either a ra with a kasra or a ra following a letter that has a kasra beneath it. Any other situation, it is always a heavy ra. Now, if I want to add the alif lam, if you recall, the qaf in the middle of the word will change shape. P. So the qaf will be in the middle of the word looking like so. And then I will add the alif and then the lam. Sorry, alif and then the lam, not alif and then lam. How would this word be pronounced? Remember, this is L. So if this is qamar, al qamar, you simply add the al before the word. Al qamar. Without this, this is qamar amun, al qamar the moon. So that is the first form for the article in terms of enunciation. The second form, I will show you the difference, or you will actually hear the difference for the word tree. The word tree is called, actually, instead of tree, I will take a simpler word. So I'll delete this, and we will take the word, instead of tree, we will take sun. So if you have played Pokemon Sun and Moon, this should be interesting for you, I hope. And that is called Shams. 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 Shams, the sun. So we will write it here. Thankfully, the sheen is drawn in the same manner in both beginning and middle of the word, so I do not have to change it like the qaf. So it will be like so. Shams. Now, let us say I want to say the sun instead of a sun. I will add these two letters. Now here, it is not al-shams. For the word to roll off the tongue easier and smoother, instead of saying al-shams, you can see that there is a slight distinction between al and shams. So to make it roll off the tongue easier, we will fuse in pronunciation only. Fuse the lam with the sheen. So instead of saying al-shams, you will say ash-shams. So actually now that I hear it, instead of fusing, you will delete the lam from the pronunciation. So it will be pronounced as if it was written as so. Ash-shams. Now, if you pay a closer attention to the pronunciation, ash-sha, you hear the sheen twice, which automatically means shadda, and the second diacritic is ash-sha, fatha. So this is how it will be written. With the alif lam. Ash-shams. You do not say al, you remove the l from the enunciation. However, it is written. So you will say ash-shams. And in these cases, the letter following lam will always have a shadda. Always. As you have noticed, there are certain letters that are compatible with the lam. So you say al and then the word. And there are letters that are incompatible with the lam, which leads to the negation of the lam. The lam that is pronounced is referred to as, and you do not really need to know the name of that lam as a beginner. You could learn it if you are interested in trivium, or if you would like to discuss Arabic with someone at an intermediate or advanced level. However, as a beginner, you do not need to know it. I am simply stating it for knowledge, extra knowledge for you. It is called lam qamariyya, lunar lam. And I know the word seems similar. It is derived from the root, which is qamar. Qamariyya turns it into an adjective. Similar to luna in Latin, to turn it into an adjective, you add r, lunar. Exactly the same. So this is a lunar alif. A lunar alif. Lunar alifs sorry, not alifs, lambs. Not alifs, lamb. Lunar lamb or lam qamariyah. These are the lambs that are actually enunciated before the beginning of the word. When you hear al, then the noun, that automatically means this is a lunar lam which is compatible with the following letter. However, and this is why I chose moon, because when they devised this rule, they named it after the word. Here, yes, if you have guessed Solarlam, then you are correct. So this lam right here is called Shamsiyya. And again, it is similar to the root because it is derived from it. To turn it into an adjective, you do not really need to know the spelling at this time. However, once we advance in the future videos, and also once we undertake listening and reading and writing exercises, you should be able to spell any word you hear simply by listening. Because Arabic is the only language that I know of that is spelt the way it is enunciated. The only extras that you will find were extras added when, as I mentioned before, when non-Arabs started becoming Muslims, they were a bit confused with the language, so they started making additions and changes to the written script to make it easier for non-Arabs. However, if you do not wish to follow that convention, normally no one should reprimand you because you are writing it the way it is spoken, which is what Arabic is actually. So this is called the solar lam. The lam that is dropped from enunciation and fused with the next letter. How would you be able to differentiate between lunar and solar? That comes with practice. So normally, God willing, once we start the listening exercises, I will add a few words with alif lam, and they will be either a mixture of lunar and solar. That way you can identify which letters urge or necessitate a lunar lam and which necessitate a solar lam. But that simply comes with practice. I do not want you to exert too much pressure upon yourself trying to identify the differences. It will come with practice. And as a beginner, if you feel that it rolls better as a solar lam, it is most likely a solar lam. For example, I cannot say aqamar. Aqamar, it is too difficult to pronounce. However, it is easier to say ash-shams rather than al-shams. It does not roll off the tongue smoother with a lunar lam. It is better with a solar lam or a lam shamsiyya. And that is it with regards to the article alif lam. we will discuss the connecting Hamza now. Then we will jump to the other forms or the other articles, and that will be the end for today's lecture. So let me remove this. Now, why is it called a connecting Hamza? You will see some books, but like I said earlier or in the previous video, it depends on the calligraphy or the font style used. Some books will have this sukoon atop it. Some will have the small head of the sad, and some will not write anything. So those three variations indicate that this is connecting Hamza, sorry. The only other, so normally if it is alif lam or the article the, it is always a connecting Hamza, always. There is never an article with a cutting Hamza or Hamzat qat'. However, there are other instances where an alif with a Hamzat wasl or connecting Hamza appears that is not an article. We will discuss this briefly as we segue from the alif lam to the other forms of or other types of articles that we have. So let us say al-walad. Al-walad. Is this a quick question here? Is this solar or lunar? Shamsiyya or qamariyya? It is qamariyya because I enunciated the lam. So I said al-walad. Al-walad. How would you be able to identify whether this is an article or an actual part of the word? Simple. With the article the, let us say the car. If I remove the and the word is still correct, that means the is an addition. So here, if I remove al-walad, walad, what is left is walad. Is this a correct word? Yes. So that means the al at the beginning is an article, not an actual part of the word. It is an addition. It is a prefix. How would you be able to identify whether the word is correct or not? This also comes with practice. Normally, when you hear al something, 99% of the time, I want to say 100, but I am not quite sure if there are words that start with alif lam. There are no, I do not have any words present in my mind currently to be able to tell you with complete certainty. However, it is common when you hear the al and then followed by a word, it is most likely a prefix for the article the, not an integral part of the word. So let us put the tashkil here. This lam, of course, is always sukoon, whether it is lunar or solar. But since it is already known, no one puts the sukoon here on the lam. Al-walad, al-walad, the child. Now, for the connecting Hamza, why is it called connecting? It is connecting because it connects its current word with the word before it. How does this work? Let us say هذا, and this is one of the articles that we will be discussing shortly after we finish this part right here. هذا الولد. هذا means, and I will write the definition again once we start the second half of the article lesson. هذا means this or this. So this child, this is what it means. هذا الولد. Now normally in English, if I am reading and I say the car, I do not say the car, I say the car. There is a distinction here. to indicate that these are two separate words. However, in Arabic, because it is a smoother language, you can fuse the two words together through enunciation. So instead of saying هذا الولد with a space, you can say هذا الولد هذا الولد without the space. هذا right away you segue into the lunar or the solar lamb if it is present. How is this possible? It is possible because of the connecting Hamza. It connects the words for a smoother transition. You have probably inferred why the cutting Hamza is called cutting then. Let us say Ahmed. I will say هذا again. This is Ahmed. I will not say هذا أحمد. I cannot fuse it. Why? Because there is a cutting Hamza here. I will say هذا أحمد. I will create the distinction between the two. هذا أحمد. So I cannot fuse here the two words together because there is a cutting Hamza. It cuts. However, I can fuse here. Why? Because I have a connecting Hamza. So it connects the words. هذا الولد. I do not say هذا الولد when I am reading or speaking. I say هذا الولد right away. Here I cannot say هذا أحمد. I say هذا أحمد. That is the difference between a cutting Hamza and a connecting Hamza. So I'll write here cutting and connecting in case you are taking notes. So this is a connecting Hamza, this is a cutting Hamza. One might ask, how would I differentiate between two words as a beginner? That also comes with practice. Someone who is a beginner, if he hears هذا الولد, that beginner may assume that those two words are actually one word when they are in fact two. This will come with practice, reading frequently, writing frequently, speaking and listening frequently. This will help your ears recognize when one word was enunciated and when it was two words, but there was a connecting Hamza following it. So do not worry, it will come with practice. And hopefully these lessons will help with that. I really hope so. My aim here is for everyone watching these videos to benefit, and I hope I am able to accomplish that. Now, two types of articles left. I honestly do not know how to refer to them in English. Probably declarative articles, but so we will cover the first one that we took, which is هذا as an example. So let us see, how will I write this? Okay, so we will take this or this is. Normally, is the context this is inferred when the article is added before a proper name. So when I say هذا أحمد, I say this is Ahmed. I do not say this Ahmed. But when I add it to a non-proper name or a noun, I say, so when I say هذا القمر, that means this moon. Or it could also be this is the moon, depending on the context. However, it generally means this or this is. This helps us identify if a noun is masculine or feminine. In most languages, you have masculine, feminine, and neutral, such as English and German. I think French does not have neutral. It is only masculine or feminine. In Arabic, we also have masculine only or feminine only. So we have masculine and feminine. Now, how would you be able to identify masculine from feminine? Through this particular article, this. Because the masculine article is different than the feminine article. For the masculine, we have three forms. We have the singular, and we have the plural. However, the plural nouns in Arabic have an extra addition to them. You either have plural for two people only. I sometimes refer to it as duality, but that is my personal interpretation, because in Arabic it has a different name. It's called muthanna, which means two. Or the other form of plural is greater than two, so three and above. I should not say people, because it could be cars, it could be trees. So, sorry, I undid the erase there. So the plural could be two people only, or two nouns, let us say two nouns, or multiple nouns, more than two. Those are the two plural forms that we have in Arabic. The same for the feminine articles. We have the singular, we have the plural. I'll extend it to the right a bit. And here it is either two or more than two. These forms for each of the articles, they look similar, however they are not the same. For a masculine singular, this is the word هذا. هذا هذا ها فتحة ذال فتحة ألف مد or ألف vowel. For the duality plural form, actually, probably draw a branch. For the nominative form, I should enforce the fact that you do not have to memorize all of this. You can focus on the singular for now, and the plurals will come with practice later on. However, I wish to cover this part so that you have a more comprehensive outlook regarding the Arabic language. It is not meant to overwhelm you. So for now, you can focus on the singular and ignore these. However, I will teach them now. That way you can have the information and you can return to it later in the future for reference whenever you want. So if the article is in the nominative form, it has a certain spelling for it. If it is accusative or dative, or I believe it is called dative maybe, I do not recall. For nominative, it will be هذان هذان. Exactly the same as the singular, but with a noon at the end. Normally in nouns, if they are in the duality form, they will end with alif nun, which indicates duality. For example, سيارة, سيارتان. شاب means a teenage boy. شابان, alif nun. Well, it is not really teenage because how should I explain this? The teenage years are somewhat different in definition with regards to Arabic or Islam, because we look at the mind instead of the age for multiple aspects, but that is a tale for another time. Now, for the accusative or the dative, they are called, or this article will be written as هذين, 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 هذين. So if the article is in the accusative form or the dative form, it will be written as such. However, they both mean the same, the duality form, or only if you are describing or referencing two nouns, it will be either this or that. What if it is the, probably draw it here, the multiple form? That will be what the word that we took for the Hamza lesson, هؤلاء. هؤلاء. Actually, if you intend on reading the Quran, you should also memorize this word because it is repeated quite often. So if you would like to understand what the verse is saying, or what God is saying through the verse, or what the verse means, I should say also, definitely memorize this form as well, هؤلاء, in addition to هذا. Now for the feminine. The feminine is similar to the masculine with only a slight with only one difference in one letter. The singular for it is, instead of هذا, it would be هذه. 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 This is a feminine noun, or she is. That is what هذه could also mean. But let us keep it as this, because she is an actual pronoun with an actual word for it in Arabic. Then for the duality form, we also have nominative and accusative. So I will write here nominative, and here I will write accusative or dative. Exactly the same with regards to the transformation from nominative to accusative and dative. So for nominative, it is actually that ha needs reformation. هاتان. And as you can see, the alif nun to indicate duality. هاتان, two vowels. The same as what happened here will happen here. The alif nun will be turned into ya nun for the accusative and dative. So it will be هاتان. Tayn. I'm missing a letter. There we go. Ha tay هاتين هاتين. What about the multiple form? Exactly the same for the masculine and the feminine. هؤلاء. So this is common between both genders or both forms, and you can see the similarities between singular and duality or plural, and you can also see the similarities between the forms for the duality here and the duality here with regards to the transformation from nominative to accusative or dative. Now that is one article, or actually you can consider it the second article. I believe this is called the declarative article, but I will not write it here in case I am mistaken with regards to the appellation. Lastly, we will cover the other forms or the other articles. So delete. This will be he, she, who is. Actually, to make it easier, I will write it as one who is. And of course are if it is a plural. One who is, or they who are. That is probably an explanatory article, perhaps. I honestly do not know. So I will write it as such because this is the direct translation for it. And again, we have masculine, we have feminine, and again we have singular, duality, and multiple, and the same for the feminine. So I will write the branches first, then start with the right side as a Muslim. So I will start with the masculine side and then move to the feminine side. And before we end today's lecture, I will highlight how you can identify whether a noun is masculine or feminine, if you wish to practice before we actually cover sentence structures or different a list of nouns. And here we have nominative. I apologize if I am taking too long with writing. I do not implement time lapses in my videos. I prefer to write everything during the lecture. That way, to avoid having anyone miss any piece of information I am relaying. So hopefully these videos are not too long or too annoying. And then we have here, okay, so we have nominative. And we have accusative or dative. I also do not know how to use Clip Studio, otherwise I would have copied and pasted text quickly. Fortunately, this program is very alien to me. Perhaps I should switch to Paint. Singular. Then we have here, we'll put plural. And I'll just push this here a bit because the greater than 2 form or the multiple form is different here. Greater than 2. So here I'll push it to the bottom. We have nominative. It is rather difficult to write with this light pen for some reason. Perhaps I am misusing it. That is probably why. I am accustomed to writing with or drawing with a mouse, but this is much faster, of course, than using a mouse. Now, again, the same as before, focus on the singular and the masculine plural. Those are the common ones. You can focus on the singular feminine or feminine singular, and you do not have to focus or remember the others at this moment. However, if you are reading the Quran and wish to understand verses, definitely the singular, masculine singular, and masculine plural. So with regards to the singular, this one is called al-ladhi. Al-ladhi. That means he who is. Now for the duality form or dual form, it is al-ladhani. Sorry, I forgot an extra L there. Al-ladhani. Again, alif nun to indicate the dual form. For the accusative, actually I forgot to draw my arrow. I enjoy consistency. Here it will be al-ladhaini, exactly the same as with هذين. Exactly the same. Ya nun instead of alif nun. Now for the plural, for masculine, that is الذين, and you will see this word quite often in the Quran. الذين. For the feminine, the singular is التي, she who is. For the dual form, it will be اللتان, and as you have inferred, it will be اللتين. اللتين. So it is transformed from alif nun to ya nun. اللتين. Yeah. T. اللتان, اللتين, اللتين. There. Lastly, you can use الذين if it is a group of men and women. Actually, I should say males, because men is a description, it is not a form of gender. Every man is male, but not every male is a man. So if this is a group of males and females, you will use الذين. However, if it is and the same with هؤلاء. However, هؤلاء is also for a group of females only. However, here a group exclusively female only will have 3 different forms. I honestly okay, let me probably do a branch for them. 1, 2, and 3. So the 3 are اللائي and then you have اللاتي and lastly you have اللواتي. I do not know when each form is used, simply because Arabs in this day and age should not be considered Arabs, because our language has been lost after constant invasions from multiple countries in our Islamic world. And since the invaders were deciding our curriculum, they decided to subtly have us forget Arabic. So technically I am not considered an Arab because I do not even know my own language. I do not know how to identify roots or teach advanced Arabic, of course. Those who are more qualified than I am will be able to tell you what the difference between these three are. However, from my experience reading Arabic, this is the most common, and this is also common. Allawati and allati. Though you do see this as well, but from my experience, I have not encountered this as often as these two. Allai, allati, and allawati. Lastly, before we end for today, how to identify whether a noun is masculine or feminine. You add هذا before it or هذه. Now you would ask, well, if let us say for example I have قمر. Sorry, let me just adjust. There we go. قمر. How would I know if it is masculine or feminine? Normally the traditional method that is taught in schools is add هذا or هذه before it. If it sounds correct, then it matches the form or the gender of the article. So I would say هذا قمر instead of هذه قمر. However, I do not think for a non-Arabic speaker or a non-native speaker would be able to identify whether it sounds correct or not. So Shams, for example, here would be feminine. هذه شمس. I would say Shams. I would say it also comes with practice. You will be able to identify whether an object or a noun is masculine or feminine. It also helps to identify, in addition to articles, of course, the pronouns as well. Since everything is either falls under the masculine or feminine category, it should be slightly easier than having an extra category such as neutral in German, because in English it is simple since everything that is inanimate is it. In German it is slightly difficult because inanimate objects or nouns in German are classified as either masculine, feminine, or neutral, and for some reason this word here, which means young woman, is classified as neutral, das. For some reason it is not feminine. I honestly do not know why, and my German teacher did not know either. But yeah, it will come, sorry, I opened this by accident. It will come with practice, you do not have to worry. As you read more and listen more and speak more with Arabic people, you will be able to memorize more more nouns, and whether or not they are masculine or feminine. This marks the end of our lecture. I hope this was beneficial and helpful to everyone who is watching this. I will see you in the next video, God willing. Enjoy the rest of your day, be safe, and take care.